Young adults' brains are still developing. Their brains can still be emotional. They have a heightened reward system. They're more sensitive to peer pressure. I think that's just something really important in the beginning to discuss. Now, as we jump into what are some of the common issues that we see in this age group, one, anxiety, people that are struggling with worries and fears. Another is depression, the low mood, the feelings of worthlessness, the low self-esteem. Another disorder that becomes prevalent during this time is bipolar disorder, as well as addictions. I think there's two situations that are going on in the world too right now that can lead to some hopelessness in this group. I work with a lot of young adults, and two things that I've heard them worried about that are causing a sense of hopelessness, maybe even despair, are the impact of climate change, and then also the economic insecurities. Kids these days, or I should say young adults these days, just aren't making as much money. There's not the economics available to them that was when, you and I were their age. And so I'm seeing this growing sense of hopelessness and despair. For you and I growing up, this was a choice. We lived at a different time period when there was no social media, when technology was, maybe a computer. And now, we have computers in our hands and telephones in our hands and instant access to things all across the world. So it's a constant for young adults. It also is part of what defines their reality. One of the concerns that, come up for me is that because it's a reality that you're seeing on a screen, there's a lot of miscommunication. There's a lot of lost, information within the communication realm of it. This leads to a lot of rumors, unrealistic views of other people's lives, and also, of course, peer pressures and bullying. That becomes still an issue during this time frame. On the other hand, of course, this platform is how people receive information, and educating people, especially about issues like mental health, is being done in ways that we've never seen before through social media and technology. So in that regard, it can be, helpful. One of the things that I still worry about, though, is these items can be a distraction for people. They can be used as a way to numb out. They can disturb sleep and other routines. We know those kind of things are happening. So I think the correct word to use with these devices in use is the word balance. It's just like everything else in life. People and young adults need to have a balance of using social media and technology as well as having other experiences face to face, person to person. And if you think about this group and what does this group really rely on, it's socialization. I mean, their brains are designed for socialization. And you think about COVID and all that it did and all that it shut down. And then just think for a second, where do young adults go for entertainment and, just to enjoy themselves? They go to bars, they go to coffee shops, they go to exercise places, they go to work, maybe they go to parks, and all those were closed. I don't think we can really start to understand the dynamics that had on them, although an increase of mental health seems, unfortunately, a realistic and logical thing that you would experience from that. The latest study that I could find was from University of California, SF, which I think is San Francisco. 48% of people of this age group have struggled with mental health issues. Kelly, that's half. But again, this group is a very resilient group. Their brains are still developing, which allows them to grow in ways that are unexpected. But again, when you have these kind of pressures on you and they're ongoing, it's really difficult, like something like COVID. And I want to just say one other thing too. A lot of the people that I work with are in this age group, and I saw them really struggle in COVID. And a lot of the times too, it was because they were living alone, and there were the pressures of living alone and the constant of living alone. And then there was another group that were living with their parents again. And this was just as disturbing to them. Here I am, a 25-year-old adult, and suddenly I have to go home and live with mom and dad. I'm under their rules again, and yet I'm an adult. I live on my own. I'm working from home. I'm living from home. Everything is from home. You can imagine if the home is not a functional place, how difficult that could be.